Thursday, October 9th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. We've got a couple of things to talk about. So I usually start out with stock market indexes, go to futures, and then we've got a variety of stocks. But I like to talk about the psychology of markets and a variety of other things. I continue, and it's been probably a week or two, to talk about overbought conditions, situations where the market is not in a particular position, if you want to put that way, which I would encourage people buying. Went up too much, too fast, too quick, usually. There's a technical correction after that, but measuring when, how, why, and the numbers is the very tricky part. I continue to see the high likelihood of this break expected for for it to create what I hope to be the October lows, which frankly, because now it's already October 9th, is we're in the third of the month. So got to be in the next 20 or so days. Fast, big, sharp, but maybe we're going to, have one of those years where we don't have an October low. But the odds are very strong, a little over 90% since 1993. So here we go again. Enough of the talk. We're looking at now the 5-minute chart on the MES. Not a lot of damage done, frankly, but we're going flat basically the last few days. Yeah, we had a higher high, but the end result, where are we? Still in the middle of the last several days. Okay, we had a second spider SPY bearish engulfing ER sell signal today. We had one on Tuesday. Oh, by the way, I will not be making a recording tomorrow, Friday, October 10th, and I will also not be making a recording on Monday and Tuesday, 13, 14. So I'll be back on the air, so to speak, recording for on Wednesday of next week. So here we go. Another bearish engulfing. This is fairly unusual, and from my recollection, because it's so unusual, rare, this probably is going to lead to a pretty big break. I've got a bearish engulfing. I have to be bearish on the SPY. The buy stop is above the high of today, wherever you sell it, and you should be lowering your stop as quickly as possible, as you feel comfortable with, if we start moving lower. Next, not that big a deal so far on the 5-minute chart. Really have to get below 667 and a half. Next, we have had two bearish engulfings in the QQQ, but yesterday and I don't know, maybe today, not that important, have made slight new highs. Remember, these things are not always part of the topping out process. We had a very sharp break back here in the end of July, but it only lasted one day. Very profitable, but only lasted one day. And a couple of these lately have not worked out very well. That was good for 2 days, and this was not. The bottom of the market, oh yeah. So I still think this is rolling over, but getting ready to head to Fuego south. August QQQ. Progress, sort of, not really. Still prime target. Same thing. MNQ had two bearish engulfings in the last 5 days and losing momentum. No signal. I got to start closing below the lows of at least several previous days, if not a chunk more. Remember, I kind of expect the first day down maybe to be pretty large. Next, new highs, but couldn't hold it. Closed, give or take a little. And that is now the YM has already, the YM, Dow Jones, has already been going down since the high on October 3rd. Next day, no new high. Next day, no new high. Next day, yesterday, no new high. And today, kaboom, broke the lows of the last 3, 4 days, 5 days. Lowest close for about 7 maybe days. No bearish engulfing ER sell signal at the top, only overbought. By the way, the overbought RSI at the bottom is my custom RSI. I learned it from Wells Wilder himself. And the next is a 5 minute chart. Now you can see that the highs on a very short-term basis are starting to get lower than, lower than, lower than, lower than, and the lows have been broken. So we have somewhat of a very short-term minor breakout to the downside. Yeah, we need a lot more evidence. Next chart. Russell, sort of like the YM, but not quite. We didn't break the lows of the last couple days. It was almost a doji, not quite. The highest high was 3 days ago. Closed lower. Lowest closed in a few days. YM leading the way down so far. Next, it's the 5 minute chart on the Russell and bonds. A little bit lower close. Remember, I'm talking about this drifting off to the downside. I don't expect a lot, probably down to 113. We're 16, almost 17 at the moment. That's pretty good, though. The key level is the support level here at 115.24-ish. And closing below that should start it to go down to 113.01. Next, notes, pretty much the same commentary. Sideways lately, couple last 3 weeks. Little pennant sort of. Lower close today, nothing significant. Waiting, waiting, waiting. And we got crude oil. Back into support a little bit. Let's see if it can get lower than this low at 60.35, which should lead to a big break, because then it'll be pushing the support level bottom zone, bottom. And if that's broken, which was pretty likely after we had this bounce of a week, that would lead to probably a move down a lot more, maybe below 56. So neutral bearish. Now on natural gas, we had a bearish engulfing yesterday. Great. Dropped off 0.094 today. Okay, great. Not bad. But I really needed to close ASAP below 2.998. That would be the downside breakout on a continuing bear move that I've been talking about for a long, long time. The original bearish breakout of the head and shoulder top formation was on July 25. And my downside objective, continue to repeat, was 1.567. So next, heating oil. In a pennant formation, wobbling back and forth. I'm waiting. Next, gold overbought conditions, which were very extreme. That was almost 90, 89 plus, which is the bloody, I scream bloody murder when it gets up to 90 for any overbought symbol. We had a 90 back on September 3rd, and it didn't work, but for one day. But I would have expected a lot more. The last time we're up to something around 90 is not even on this chart. They're rare. This could be the beginning of the down move, let alone the fact that, watch out, we have a bearish engulfing ER self signal on silver today, a whopper. The low today is below the low of the previous 3 days, not just one. And of course, it's a new high forever. I'm not sure if that's, I think it's historic. Not important. So here we go. Expectation down to at least 42.32. First minor support. Got to put a level in there. Remember, I'm not back on YouTube until next Wednesday. And then maybe down to 40.40. But the real support doesn't really start until around 37. Next chart. We've got a new high, overbought for quite a while. A lower close, but today's low is not quite below yesterday's lows, which would have turned it red, an official sell signal. It is a new high in price for the last couple of weeks, but not in the indicator, my custom RSI. That's divergence. This is very close to a bearish engulfing ER self signal, but not quite. Do I give it any credit? Well, I'd love to, but that's not the rules. So all I can say is it looks like it's turning. We did reach my minimum upside objective yesterday on the breakout of the previous pennant formation I started talking about, at least on September 23rd, if not earlier, because that was classic. Broke the bear trend line out of the pennant on a big up move, heavy volume, large rally. Puh, new highs for what, a month and a half, it looks like. So here we go. We're finished with that. Now we're topping out. I think, my personal opinion, next, high grade copper. Not quite the same. New highs by a long shot and a new high close, true, but the close wasn't above yesterday's high, and we're still in overbought conditions. This does lead to a break. I want to see it start closing below today's lows. Then I'd be a lot more optimistic about a break. At the moment, I'm extremely suspicious. Next. Okay, we're back into soybeans and grains. We got the bottom of the market to the exact day, lately, October 1st, on soybeans. Today's high was almost a new high since. Tied, lower close, no big deal, still looking for higher levels. If we start getting into the ballpark of 1065 plus, that would constitute new highs for many months. That would constitute a substantial bullish intermediate to longer term trend change. Next. Yeah, next. Top top of the channel at today's high almost, but a bearish engulfing right there. So this looks like it's turning down basically at the top of the channel. And I would now expect, frankly, a move back down to support at 49.16. And this time the bottom of the channel is well below that. Now it's going to take several days. That's a big break. No, I think it's going to try to bottom out at 49.20. Next. Come on. There we go. Soybean meal. Not much of a comment. Trying to justify long-term bullish. Waiting. Corn. Same thing. Wheat. Oh boy. Every rally we get, can't hold it. Neutral bearish. Slow. Apple. The stock, of course. And sharp break. We had a bass backwards engulfing ER signal, but it wasn't, something special. I'm not even changing colors for it on the high day. But today is interesting because it is a new low for a week plus and a lower close for the same period plus more. Closing below, and it looks like it's about to do it. 551, let's call it, would constitute a move further down to the gap closure of 246, another $5. Not big deal. But we don't even have support until we get all the way back to 241.30-ish. And there's also another gap to close way down here at 234. Now the current 54 down to 34, hey, that's not bad. $20 on a $250 stock. Yeah, worthwhile. I think it could happen. Next, upside exhausted gap potential for NVIDIA. Overbought conditions. Classic situation for what we will end up calling an island top if it gaps down tomorrow and the high of tomorrow is lower than today's low. That would constitute an island top, in which case, historically, they're very bearish very quickly. Excuse me. And should have a very sharp big break if that comes true, which that remains to be seen. Watch out. Looking for a turn down. Next, AMD recently, I believe, had some very good news. Not that I'm a fundamentalist, which I, of course, am not. I'm a technician. Is now in new historic highs again and a close a little lower on the day. Nothing much. Can't say anything definitive about it. We do have a gap to close. It's way down at 170. This is 233 almost on the close. Can I predict it coming down to close the gap? Yeah, but maybe it'll go up a little more. But that's what I think we're going to see for the next downside correction. It looks like it'll probably take weeks. Next, MES again. You guys have a great day and profitable trading. Remember, I will not be able to make a recording tomorrow, Friday, or next Monday and Tuesday. Profitable trading to you.